I would like to go ahead and turn to today's session, Connected Data, Better Decisions, Getting More from ActivTrak Integrations. I would like to go ahead and invite our experts on, our VP of Customer Solutions, Vic Gabondo, and our Senior Sales Engineer, Leah McIntosh, who will take you through today's session. Yes, Leah joins us often. She is awesome. Vic he is also awesome, but he's not on as much with us, but they both could be familiar. So welcome to both of you. I'm so glad you're here. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and I'll turn it over to Vic in just 1 second. Just one more final reminder, submit those questions in the bottom left. As we go through, we'd love to answer them as we're in the moment. And then otherwise, if we don't get to them, we will follow up with you if we do not have time. So with that, Vic, take it away.
Well, wonderful. Thank you, Megan. And hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So today's session, as Megan mentioned, is a continuation of our integrations topic, which we continue to hear a strong demand for and explore in greater depths. So let's.
And actually, you know what, Vic? Sorry, I wanted one more moment with everyone. I apologize. I promised that I would share the poll results, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So if everyone, if you haven't taken it, you have like 1 more second to do it, and we'll share that just so everyone can kind of see what are people thinking right now in their AI journey. So I'll go ahead and I will click this forward. Okay, it looks like measuring AI's impact on productivity with 52.6%. And the second biggest is identifying where to deploy AI next. So I think this will be a good session. We'll jump back in. Sorry about that, Vic. I'll let you take it away for real this time.
No worries. This is fantastic to get us started in the right path. So let's switch to the agenda for today. So part of what we'll cover today is we'll start with a recap of the type of integrations ActivTrak offers, the purpose behind each one, and how they all work together to give you a more complete view of your workplace, of your workforce. We will also spend a bit of extra time reviewing our HRIS integration, including enhancements to our integration capabilities since the last time we touched on this topic. And we'll also cover our more advanced reporting and analytics capabilities using business intelligence tool. We'll spend some time talking about AI and how AI can help us also bring a lot more insights to life with the power of integrations and the data that ActivTrak contains. So with that, let's jump right in. So let me start by restating the challenge because I believe many of you will recognize this right away. The challenge today is that essential data lives in silos. Your calendar data is in Google or Outlook, your HR data, whether that is Bamboo, Workday, ADP, holds your PTO and employee information. Identity data lives in other systems, systems like Azure AD or Okta, and they contain organizational structure data, user access, in just a wealth of information that lives in a lot of different places. In your reporting, which is essential for all of this as well to extract your insights and see what's going on, lives in other tools like Power BI, Tableau, maybe some custom solutions. Some of you might be looking at reports even on tools like Excel. And now, if we add AI, your LLMs might be also sitting separately on various silos. So each one of these systems hold valuable information and plays a key role in workforce analytics, but they are working separate. They're working on silos. They're not talking to each other. And the issue with this scenario is that with disconnected systems, your leaders are making workforce decisions based on incomplete pictures, right? So we're really trying to put a puzzle together without necessarily being able to stitch those components together. So now, when we bring all of this together, and this is want to drive your attention to the right side of this visual, is when we really unlock the capabilities of all of this wealth of information that you have, right? So bringing ActivTrak into the mix or using ActivTrak as your workforce intelligence hub allows you to really gain a complete picture of your workday. So, for example, how people are working, including bringing in your calendar data to fill in the blanks and with offline meetings, your PTO data to help you understand, absence that are happening or lack of digital activity and the justifications to it, or changes across the environment need to flow continuously and seamlessly in order to adapt the system to all of these changes and remove the manual effort. And last but not least, making sure that your executives and your leadership team are looking at reports that has the latest and greatest information about your environment with an accurate representation of what is happening there. This is why it's an important aspect to think about not just different pieces of information, but how everything comes together can give you that full picture. And that is a type of transformation that these integrations can provide in what we would like to walk you through today's presentation. So we look at these integrations in three different categories. And let me start from the left side and move over to the right side. The first integration category is data enrichment. So think about this as context in type of integrations. These type of integrations bring external contextual data into your ActivTrak. It enriches your analytics. This is where we see categories such as the calendar integration, your PTO data through HR integrations, for example, fit all within this particular category. And it allows us to understand more what's happening outside of just the data that ActivTrak produces directly. Now, on the middle side, we have the administration, and this is the category of the administration automation type integration. So what these particular integration types do is eliminate the manual work required to maintain everything in sync. So when changes on the organization happens, those changes need to be reflected within the ActivTrak platform, and these are the type of integrations that manage that kind of process. So to give you an example, you can connect your Azure Directory Services to maintain your groups. So as people move around from one department to another, those group changes get reflected. You can also use our Scheme API integration for a fully automated user management lifecycle, right? So whether it is onboarding employees or exiting employees, and how all of that needs to be reflected across your systems, and then also reflected across the ActivTrak data that you see. In the last type of integration on the right-hand side is the reporting and analytics category of integration. So think about this as insights out. This is where you push workforce intelligence data and insights into the tools your stakeholders are using to make those business decisions day in and day out. So starting with solutions like the Active Connect capabilities of our platform, where you can bring in data directly into tools like Power BI, Tableau, other reporting or business intelligence solutions, or REST API that allows you for live data extraction to support integrations, such as bringing ActivTrak data into custom applications or something that needs more of that real-time insights that ActivTrak can provide. And now with the power of AI and via MCP server access, you can now bring this information and this knowledge into your LLM that enables faster and more effortless interactions with your data. And we'll give you some examples of that as well. Now, talking about this coming together into how this actually benefits me and how this actually impacts the data and the way that I look at the data and I consume this data. I have a couple examples, or one particular example to talk about the HRIS integration. But before that, we have a poll here to get your feedback on which type of integration is the most important to you. So let's jump right in. Megan, any guidance for us on this?
We will this is exactly, what you just walked through, Vic. And so just kind of understanding along the sort of journey or life cycle, just trying to kind of figure out like what is, most important to you in your organization. Just choose one of those, just so that this just gives us a good idea, one of like where your organization is, how you're thinking, and what you're thinking that you might need. And this also just gives us a good idea of areas for us to focus on, even as we're continuing to build some of these things out. So I see that people are chiming in. I would love to see a few more people let us know. I think it's also really interesting. Again, one of the reasons we like to do these polls is also just so that you can also see what your peers are thinking, like what's going on with them. So, all right, we'll go ahead and we're going to close it out here. Oh, I just saw several people take it when I said that. I feel like that happens. It must be a psychology thing. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and we will move forward. Well, let's see here. Okay, looks like pulling data out is by and large that with admin, automated admin behind that. So really good framing for us. Okay, all right, Vic.
That's fantastic. Thank you for that feedback and for your participation, helping us guide this conversation so you get the most of it as well. So let me give you an example of how all this data comes together in a scenario that you probably are familiar with if you are already using our product. But what this demonstrates is an improved Workday logic by using schedules and HRIS data. So think about this as every calendar day in ActivTrak now falls into one or two categories. It's either a scheduled day or non-scheduled day. Now, within a scheduled day, this is where your teams are expected to work, right? So when you have, for example, fixed hours teams, these are schedules that might look more like Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., for instance. And we also support flexible schedules. So these are your teams that don't have necessarily a starting in hours. So you can say, I expect my teams this particular team to work Monday through Friday at any time, right? So this schedule sets the expectation of when work is supposed to happen. Now, inside a scheduled day, which is this section here on the green side of the visual here, what you will find is three different outcomes that can be produced by this integration. Whether it's an active day, so an active day is a scheduled work day that has digital activity and that has nothing else. This is business as usual, or data's flowing. There's also a time of day, which is a scheduled day without digital activity. So this is let's say, for example, I called in sick or I submitted for PTO on Thursday. Typically Thursdays I work, but in this particular case, my HRIS integration reported that I had an approved time off on that day. So it routed my day to be a time off day. And then the absentee day in orange here is where we see the schedule that's supposed to happen or activity that's supposed to happen, but there is neither digital activity or not PTO approved for that particular day. So those are the categories where the HR integration does the work for you. If there's approved PTO on file for that day, ActivTrak routes that day to a time off. If there's not one on file, then it flags it as an absentee day. Now, for the non-scheduled days, this is more for informational purposes. So these are days where some logs, might be collected. So, for example, I work up on a weekend or a holiday, and I just did some mile work. So this is where activity gets still collected. You can still see what's happening, but it doesn't necessarily count towards attendance. It doesn't count towards impact on averages or any of the calculation. And this is important because it means that a typical Saturday check-in should not artificially drag down your team's metric just by just doing normal, as most of us behave, right, on work-related items. So just wanted to give you that example of how these integrations now can give you better context. Now that we have this particular piece together, we have the ability now to get a better representation of how work happens. Again, the schedule defines the source of truth and the expectations, but also the HRIS data helps us fill in the gaps, and your reporting now reflects a more accurate representation of your team's performance. So with that, I would love to turn it over to Leah, who is going to walk us through a lot of these concepts and see this in practice, how these integrations come together, how do we configure it, where do we see the data. So Leah, over to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Vic. And before we start diving into the demo, especially with the context in integrations, I do just want to emphasize a new capability with this HRIS PTO integration. So the integration itself is not necessarily new. You know this if you've been with us, but we do now offer a universal connector option through SFTP or even a CSV, which means that you can have the data that I'm about to show you populate in regardless of your specific HRIS system. I'll repeat that again, since this is definitely one of the top questions we get during these conversations. I would not be surprised if we've already gotten it, but you no longer need one of our specific 11 listed HRIS vendors like Workday or ADP. If you use Paylocity, Paycom, or some smaller HRIS system to track and approve time off, you can get the same visibility that I'm about to show you through the integration. Important call out, so let's go ahead with that and I will share my screen and we're gonna dive right on in.
That's awesome. Leah, we did already have a question. I think you might cover this, but I'm not quite sure. But if you can, as you're going through the time off, if you can actually also share, like, can we record partial days where people are off? If you can also just make sure to cover that, that would be awesome.
Absolutely. Yes, will do. We're actually going to cover it pretty much right away. So glad it's a timely question. Excellent. So we have, touched on it throughout our conversation so far. Leaders do need comprehensive visibility into the workday to really truly operationalize these insights and don't want to have to go to multiple systems to get what they need. So as a manager looking to ensure our clients, our internal teams have the right coverage and proactively identify, any possible attendance issues, I'm going to start with our schedule adherence trends report. The user data down below helps to quantify, how many days a individual was maybe late to their specific shift, if they stopped working early before the expectations, simply did not show up with an absent day here. And then most importantly, if they had any approved time off, we see 2 here, and the exact amount of time. So 2 days showing 16 hours, those were definitely 8-hour approvals. But yes, it can be 4 hours. If 4 hours was approved, that's what we're going to pull in, right? And while we don't have too much time here, productive hours per day on time off days, I do see that Charles has a little bit. So he had the day approved off, but still logged work during those days. And so, this might turn into a larger compliance issues if it turns into a habit. 2 important items that I want to call out. First, on our left-hand side over here, we have the schedule that as Vic mentioned, this type of data and how we calculate an expected workday is not just for scheduled shift workers. Up at the top here, Jim, as an example, flexible hours. He can start it in the day, technically when he needs as a salaried employee, but we do expect him to be available Monday through Friday. Very common. It's what, really the majority of our organizations are doing. But of course, there may be some folks like we have Kathy as an example who do have, more specific working expectations, right? We need her 8 to 4:30. That is her shift. She supports clients. So, the second thing to call out is that your integrated approved time off factors into the calculations. Again, active days, when we expect them to work, their overall productivity, and how we flag users here. Down below, I know that Kelly is a great example. She has no average productivity here over this week time frame, but she's not being marked as absent on any of those days without any activity. And that is because she did have 5 approved days off coming over from our HRIS system, and they were full days, right? The whole 40-hour week was excused. Average productive time that we're seeing here, if you're familiar, it's present throughout a lot of our other reports, but we are now looking to see again, what is an actual active expected day? Did they have that day off? So really immediate benefit of having that HRIS data come on in. If we are looking at this, as a leader, and we have identified a opportunity for coaching, right? Something that we need to get ahead of, this same data is available on a per day basis to really further understand, how each specific day looks, gain some further context. And so now I'm in schedule adherence. Very easy to remember. First one was schedule adherence trends, surfacing that. This one is schedule adherence. With this report, we can also see the productive time. We can see the amount of time off that they had, and then also, were they expected to work that day? If so, there is actually an additional column that can be introduced in here of their schedule status. And so that's where we can confirm whether we have folks who are actually marked as absent. So again, no digital activity. There we go. No digital activity. Perfect. This is a great example. No digital activity, no approved time off. That person is absent, right? Whereas no digital activity, approved time off. Nope, that is a excused day. They're not absent. It's not incomplete. They had approved time off, right? And so this view is going to help us to identify individuals who maybe actually did have a day approved off as well. So if somebody is marked as absent, maybe they simply forgot to put it in the HRIS system, right? So just going to be a reminder conversation, really helping us make sure that everyone is following the expectations of not only coming to their shift, but our internal processes. Also, if you remember on that last report, we saw that Charles did have a little bit of working time during his approved time off. So I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into Charles specifically to see what we had going on with that. So Charles, for this time frame, right away, I do have the ability to see again which specific days that it was for this individual over the time frame. So I can see that he actually almost worked, well, just over an hour during his time off. But he also, he had an hour and 45 minutes of work during his scheduled expectations and an additional hour outside of what would be his regular scheduled time, right? So now it's not only that he's working on an approved day off, it was approved in HRIS, but it's technically outside his working hours, which could be, an off the clock type situation. So this behavior may be acceptable once, but not something I would want to see occur regularly, right? I am going to pivot real quick and show you how to set up these schedules, right? We've talked a lot about schedules, might be familiar for some, new for others. So especially when we're thinking about a schedule for our salaried users, I want to show you where this is done. So coming in, we do have a default shift that is assigned, right? And so this is going to be Monday through Friday with flexible hours. So again, they have no hard set in or out time. And we have this, it applies again to the majority of our organizations, since most workers, digital workers these days, are salaried, but absolutely have the ability to define a schedule. So top right, we have the add new schedule button. You can put in the schedule name. And as we see in our environment, it might be the specific shift. It might be AM, PM, our Monday through Friday people, if there are just set days, things of that nature. The key here, of course, you see the ability to set those expectations for when they should be working, what specific days. But if they are just days, Monday through Friday, they should be, supporting us. Simple, enable the flexible hours. You are not picking a in and out time. And so it is as simple as that to make sure that we have schedules in place, even for salaried individuals who have that flexibility. You do also have the ability to set your schedules on either a per team or group basis, or even down to the individual. Now, if somebody is already assigned to a different schedule, as you're seeing here, we will let you know. So they're not going to be assigned to a bunch of different conflicting schedules. The important piece on this, once you do have a schedule in place, a little save button is present in the bottom right-hand corner. So make sure that you hit save when you're done. But it truly is as simple as that, to make sure you have your schedules in place, and then we see how it applies. And speaking of enabling, we are going to pivot and talk about how we actually get all of this paid time off data in through the HRIS integration. And so we are underneath our API and integrations portion in the platform for this, which we will be in a few times today. But we do have, as you see, all of the different HRIS systems available. Two important HRIS specific callouts that we see here in my environment. So one, you'll notice that I have 2 of 2 integrations enabled. For organizations who may have, distributed systems where PTO is logged, you can actually have them both feeding in. That's actually not new either, but as of recently, if you need more than 2 systems, we can support that capability. So that is hot off the press, brand new for y'all. The second and most exciting call out is down here, this option. So as mentioned, you do not need one of these specific HRIS tools to get time off data in. You do have the universal HRIS import option available, so you can have your approved time off coming into ActivTrak. Since mine is already configured, we're feeding data in that way in addition to our ADP. I do have a little screenshot of what this would look like if you're going in to set it up for the first time. And so with this, you do have the ability to, again, set up the recurring reports coming in automatically through the FTP with your system, or you even have this ability to apply a CSV upload manually. And so some organizations will apply a CSV here maybe once a week or so with new data, and you don't even have to set up a SFTP. And so this really opens up access for everyone, right? Especially if, as we're talking today, you're like, great, I'm not sure how to do that. There are other options. And of course, we have very detailed setup guides for all of the different integrations that you see available in here. While we are in this integrations page, a few more quick new highlights. So when we're switching gears to another important piece of data to complete the Workday view, which is going to be our offline meeting time, that time from calendars where no digital activity, but there is a valid meeting on the calendar. We do, as you're seeing, 1 of 2 configured, now support the ability to have a single account with both environments integrating in. It used to be either just Outlook or just Google, but you can do both now. So, perhaps you acquired another business who uses Google when you use Microsoft. We're still kind of changing that. That is no longer a technical concern. So an important call out here as well.
And Leah, just to repeat a few of the things that you covered, because I think these are very meaningful changes that we've done over time, and a lot of them have been through customer feedback and the demand on this capability. So one, we have the ability now to support more than 1 instance, but it's not just the different products, but also in some of these integrations, we can support more than 1 instance of the same product itself, right? So if we have 2 ADP organizations, for example, that is something that we can support. The other aspect of this is the simplicity of the integration. So we hear oftentimes that maybe we want to do the integration, but we might not be ready to take advantage of it. It feels like a project that needs to get kicked off. With the ability to do the manual CSV upload, you have the ability to really take advantage of the data in ActivTrak while you still plan your automation in that part of the integration. So one of the pieces that I will encourage you to think through is if you're holding back from using the integration because of the resources that it will need or the complexities that it might get to connect to, or maybe you're talking to Paycom about what it takes to get the data out of that system. Talk to us, and we can also walk you through how can you do that in a simplest way, so you take advantage of the data and the power of those integrations without having to make that connection all on day one.
Yeah. Really important call out. Like, this truly is accessible for anyone, and we're here to support you with it as well. Appreciate that. Excellent. Sticking with the offline meeting. So to enable this specific integration, again, we're going to move a little bit more into the still contexted, but then also administration as well. But to enable this integration, of course, some setup is required in the respective environments by an administrator to create either like an application or enable APIs. As mentioned, we do have detailed setup guides available for not only the calendar integration, but each different HRIS, that CSV option as well, FTP. Really, if we offer it, we have supporting guides for it. So just as the same with the HRIS integrations, once that setup is complete on the vendor end, you would go ahead and click add instance here and then plug in, just the necessary information from either your Microsoft tenant, Google Workspace admin console in these specific scenarios. You'll hit finish when you're done, save here at the bottom, and receive a message that, the integration is processing. You can also always come in and click view instance on a, configured integration to confirm, hey, when was the last sync here? Is everything going smoothly? And just make sure that the integration is set up properly, although we will provide information if for some reason it's not configured properly, right? So for our offline meetings, to really, again, kind of complete that picture of the context once the integration is in place, I like to personally use our productivity by user report, one of the more granular types, to just see, exactly how this data is showing up, although the offline meeting metric is going to be present throughout quite a few of your reports, especially since, this non-digital business appropriate activity is imperative that it's complementing the digital activity in your assessment here, right? We need a holistic view of the employee's day. Meetings is a big one. People are not constantly doing stuff and multitasking while they're on meetings, although we see a lot of that too, and that's fine. You will notice that the offline meetings column here is blank. I have no offline meeting data. So just like your PTO data from your HRIS system, it is present retroactively. So make sure that you are filtered accordingly. I'm looking at today, I'm not going to see it. If I go to yesterday or previous days, I will see it. So true with offline meetings and your PTO data. And so if I'm looking at the last 7 days, this peach metric is now introduced and present. And then we see all of it down below in the interval chart as well. So I can see when exactly these meetings are happening. And so you can hover over the meeting, and especially with Outlook, you're going to be seeing the meeting title as well. Now, as we're seeing here, if someone does set their event to private, it'll show as private meetings, making sure we're still respecting that. But the important thing, with ActivTrak, we can only look at the calendar to pull in this time if there's no digital activity happening on the device, right? So here's a meeting, but someone's multitasking. We're going to be showing that data. This is making sure that we are filling in the gaps and not pulling in an entire calendar to ensure that, digital activity during meetings is always represented. It's always understood. Excellent. Now we are going to transition to our automate integrations here. And then I want to make sure we absolutely get to the context out, since that was key based on our poll today. So when it comes to making sure, we're going to go back to our familiar integrations page. But when it comes to making sure that employees are grouped properly as they are changing.
Just real quick, I know that because I know some people are commenting in that they're interested in HRIS and they want to let us know. I actually did want to give them an opportunity to tell us that officially so that we can make sure that they get followed up with. I just want to make sure we're not capturing it just like in comments. So just real quick, wanted to pop up this poll, make sure that people were able to let us know if they're interested in this HRIS, because we have gotten comments saying, hey, how do I, add this and things like that. So just want to make sure that everybody sees this. If they're interested, you can let us know here. This will be the best way for us to follow up with you and make sure that you do get followed up with. So I'll just pop this up here for just 1 second. And then Leah, please definitely jump back in. So
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, just a second. We'll leave it up for just another couple of seconds so that people can put that in.
That is really important since, again, it's brand new, that it doesn't matter what system you have, you can get this data. So it's very exciting.
I know, I love it. I feel like when we've covered HRIS before, we were like, oh, we have these 11, it's coming, and now we have the universal connector. So I'm super excited about it. Okay, all right, well, we'll go ahead and we will move on. All right, Leah, take it back.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, perfect. So automate integrations. Yes. So, people are changing roles in the organization. They're changing managers and teams, or, leaving the organization. We want to make sure that that is all done automatically, as Vic mentioned earlier, right? You're not going to want to be manually doing that. So our out-of-the-box Entra or Azure AD integration here is really going to be the preferred route that we see a lot of organizations go with. This will help us with making sure that all those changes are done automatically, right? And so just as the same with the calendar, the HRIS integrations, there's a little bit of setup in Entra, your Microsoft environment. So of course we have documentation for it as well, but I think showing you, how to plug in the information from Microsoft shows a bit about the setup itself. And so we'll move kind of quickly through this, but as mentioned, you do have the ability to go this route. You do plug in your environment instance name. You have a ActivTrak parent group here as well. And so that is going to house all of your groups that you want pulled over and syncing. So again, are we breaking up people by department? Do I want to see marketing, engineering, my Austin versus Atlanta office, or even direct reports is very common. The groups that are coming into your environment are also going to factor into role-based access controls, right? So Leah just sees engineering, things of that nature, really helping to make sure that you have a more tailored approach and privacy-first approach. So administrators can assign those different groups. How do we want to break it up? You have the ability to make sure through integrations that there are specific people who we are not pulling data for, right? And so this group is going to be excellent for individuals who either maybe log into computers frequently where an agent is installed, but we don't want to collect them, think your IT administrators as an example, or maybe people who have left the organization, but we do want to hold on to historical data as an example. And of course, your delete group. So people are leaving the organization, we no longer want to track them. They just get moved into this group automatically through your integration, and that change is reflected on the ActivTrak side, right? And so you have the ability to make sure that all of those changes are happening. This, again, specifically is going to be through your Entra ID or Azure AD. But I do want to show you as well what this kind of looks like, and also talk about a few other options, because as you can see, you do have Entra through SCIM, Okta through SCIM, a SCIM API in general. And so, when I'm talking about that and you're like, great, but I don't have Entra as an example, or we don't use Azure AD, that is completely fine. You do have the ability to update your groups, who's in what group, who has left the organization, through several different options as we're seeing, right? It might be API, might be that CSV as well. Want to show you though, when we're talking about users and the administration of them, it's not only their groups, right? What group do people belong in? But we can also reduce any type of administrative burden in terms of making sure that people have the right additional identifiers. So things like an employee ID can come through that integration, which is very important because it's typically needed for your HRIS to match folks for PTO. But if they have a display name, we want them shown differently on reports. You can do that again through all the administration integrations that I just talked about. And so really, again, not going to be vendor and setup specific. You can use that SCIM API or other sources of truth. Okta, as we saw, is a very common one. So you can have the benefits of the automation type integration without requiring Entra specifically, which has been leveraged heavily, but now there are other options. Now, I'm actually going to stop sharing here. So I know that the context out, again, was clearly the most important topic for y'all today, but I'm actually going to pass it to Vic, give everyone a break from my voice, to provide a sneak peek of the ActivTrak MCP that was very briefly mentioned.
Wonderful. Thank you, Leah. And let me share my screen here and show you the data out, insights out part of this presentation. Let me know if you're able to see my screen.
Yes.
All right, wonderful. So what I wanted to do here is to illustrate a couple different concepts. When you think about AI, there's multiple angles to the equation, and what a lot of organizations are looking to figure it out as we speak. One aspect of it is understanding how the AI is impacting the organization. This is which teams are using AI, what maturity level are we on at the various team levels or usage levels of AI, how much time we're spending on AI tools, are there unsanctioned tools that are being used within the organization that we might need to look into. So there's a whole set of capabilities that we have called AI Insights that brings this type of analytics to life. And these are something that you will continue to hear more about. And then the other aspect of AI technology is how do we simplify interacting with our data and extracting meaningful insights without necessarily having to do a ton of work building reports and dashboards and things of that nature. So in an effort of maximizing our time today, I wanted to bring those two scenarios into this one interaction. I'm using Claude, so if you are using Claude, you probably already are familiar with the interface. But let me start with just highlighting the prompt, right? This is where we start asking the AI, what do I need from this data? And if we look into the various pieces of this interaction, I wanted to make it not so easy for the AI to give me all the various pieces of information that I needed. So I started by asking for a quarterly report. So now the AI needs to go in and interpret my time frame. I wanted to say this is a team level analysis and I want trends. I want AI maturity to be collected. So these are all part of that domain expertise that we're developing on AI insights that will come in different formats, including the MCP tool capabilities to provide that information, identifying workflows. And as you can see, there's a ton of information that I'm just asking the AI, give me this plus that. That typically, if we give this to an analyst, it's a laundry list of tasks that they are going to go in and explore, right? This is where the AI actually does a really good job, because now you can fire multiple of these queries simultaneously against the data, and then get all of those reports, and you can interact with it in a typical fashion that you're already used to when you're talk to Claude or ChatGPT, for example, and drilled into information, ask follow-up questions, drill down, things like that. But you can also ask for things like, I need an executive level report that can help me visualize all of this context that you are providing me here. And that was the output that I wanted to show on the right, which is how much you can extract from or data via AI and this MCP connection that can give you meaningful insights across the organization. So translating all of this paragraph of wish list into an outcome. Now the AI went in and provided a Q1 AI adoption report, highlighted my adoption rate, the total hours. Last quarter, we spent over 2,800 hours using in AI tools alone across 15 different technologies. We wanted to get insights into the maturity of the AI experience. So this is maturity levels. If you've been following some of our other discussions in this topic, is really understanding the depth of the AI adoption across the organization. Some users might still use AI as a glorified Google search, and we just ask, simple things. And some other ones are embedding AI into their workflows, automating processes, getting more of their day, using AI technology. And this is where the system using our data now funnel through these capabilities can give you those kind of insights. I'm not necessarily going to go into too much detail on this particular report, but I wanted to show you how much you can do when you now have integrations with, that are coming into ActivTrak. And then when you're extracting this data now, all this integrated data, and you put it through something, like we're using our NCP technology and NCP servers that we're developing, then how much more powerful this insights mean, and how much you can actually be able to do and extract on your own without depending so much on reporting projects and on data analytics, from those teams that might be supporting that for you today. So there's a lot of different capabilities here. The important aspect to think about when you think about a MCP in data is domain expertise is really important. So you don't want to just throw in something and let the AI guess what is it that this means. As you can see from our previous part of this conversation, there's a lot of logic that goes into identifying even what it means to be a Workday, or how PTO integrates or interacts with our data, how the various integration points actually impact the outcomes that you see. So all of that knowledge, it's important to actually carry it through the AI, which is why we've developing this technology, not just with the ability to connect to the data, but the ability to interpret the data the way that it was designed to be consumed. So I will pause there, and Leah, I'll turn it over back to you. I believe we might have a few minutes to show some of the other data out capabilities as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Vic. And truly exciting on the MCP. I know that's kind of the intro to it, but it's something that we're having conversations with a lot of our organizations about. So excited for us to share that a little more, but want to be mindful of time. So as mentioned, we have a few more just kind of context out reporting and analytics type integration. So I'm going to move very quickly through this, leave some time for questions, but back in your web application, so the API and integration portion, we spent a lot of time in integrations today, but there is the Active Connect and BI. And so here is where with, Active Connect, our integration type offering, you have the ability to access either our, pre-built, just customizable template, right? There's going to be a few different types of downloadable templates in here. So we'll go through a few examples of them, but of course you do have step-by-step install guides for each of the different templates, whether it is just, hey, I want all the ActivTrak data that I'm familiar with in the web application in my Power BI instance, one-to-one, right? Just give me that data. Once it's in Power BI, I might be able to move things around, put my logo on it, which we see often. Or there are also more kind of advanced type dashboards where you can get the template and then add in some contextual data from your organization too. So I'll show you what that looks like. The financial loss, we're actually going to start with that one. So pivoting to my Power BI instance, this is a report that is in the web application under executive summaries, but what I'm showing you right now is in Power BI specifically, right? And so this, again, looks kind of familiar, but with this specific report, our organizations and leaders are able to identify, capacity gaps across an entire organization, help perform capacity planning, validate those headcount requests. And so that's how we see people really operationalizing these types of insights. And so the key difference here, though, is that in the app, there is a filter to say, hey, the average salary is X, or average salary for this department is X. But with your Power BI dashboard, you get the template. You can apply a CSV middle layer with your own average salary per each department, so that when we're looking at, hey, how much do we have on the table every month in unused capacity, these are more realized values for your specific organization. So again, one of the more contextual types of offerings with the Power BI reporting, that's something we're seeing a lot of individuals leverage, especially, right now it's mid-year. We have people really evaluating what does everything look like in terms of our capacity and what do we need to do for the remainder of the year. And then the last type of report I do want to show you again in Power BI. So, we have clearly done a lot of legwork to make sure that the reporting is as out of the box and simple for you as possible. We want to leverage it where we're familiar. Let's do it. But you're not limited to the reports and the templates that we have with ActivConnect. So if you want to expand the scope and take your ActivTrak data, right, utilization, productivity, but then also bring in third-party metrics from your other systems to complete the picture, that is something that we're seeing a lot of our customers do as well. And it may be, phase 2 or phase 3 of your customer journey with us. In this example, I have all my ActivTrak data, and for my customer support agent, I also see, how many cases they're closing and the customer satisfaction score. So how does this input data correlate to output data, right? And so, some of our organizations have a data team who can make these kind of third-party incorporated reports a reality, but if you don't, that is absolutely fine. We actually have a team here, and so if you need help customizing your environment, that is a data services engagement that we're happy to speak with you about. So again, want to be respectful of time. I know we have about 3 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and turn it back to Megan.
Thank you so much, Leah. Thank you, Vic, for sharing everything. I mean, we're right. We are just about out of time. So I did want to just make sure, again, you will get several slides, not just the slides that we showed today. We like to have these be more of a show and tell. We think that, when you really see it in the product, it really just everything clicks a little bit better than just showing a bunch of slides. But we do have some slides we will share with you that have more information on these different things, so that you have that as like a written form, or if you want to share it with other people, you can. So I did just want to call attention to, so we do have several BI reports. So Leah, we only had time to cover a couple. We have several. Here's a list. We also can customize reports. So, if BI reports are something that you're interested in, go ahead and let us know. Again, we'll send the slide with this information. And so you can kind of see that. So if you're interested in anything that we just covered in this last section, let us know, if you're interested in learning more and having a conversation around the MCP when it's available, or possibly getting into the beta part of that, please let us know. And when it kind of feels like the right fit for your organization, we'll definitely reach out if that's the case. And again, we're early days on that. And then of course, for those wonderful BI templates that Leah shared, those do require ActivConnect, which is what powers those templates. So if you don't have ActivConnect in your interested and just, I mean, because those 2 templates were awesome, but there are more, please let us know. And then of course, if you already have ActiveConnect and you did not know about some of these BI templates or were interested in any of those that I flashed up on the screen just a second ago, please do let us know that so that we can follow up with you. We want to make sure that you have access to what you need so that you're able to, solve the things that you're trying to deal with every single day. So, I will go ahead and I will leave this up. Also in the deck, you will get, some people are asking some things about plans and functionality and all of that. There is a slide in the deck that you can see that does let you know when things are coming, what plans they are available on and all of that. So we've got you covered on that front. And that will be in that deck that we share. We will send an email out later today. You will have links to resources. You will have links to the deck. You will have links to the recording. You will have access to this entire console. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful thing. So excited to, hear back from y'all. Let us know what you thought. Leanne, Vic, thank you so much. And for everybody who gets a long weekend this weekend, I hope everyone has a wonderful one. And until next time, we'll see you then. Thanks so much.
Thank you all.